Bingo. All right, we're live. Officially.
Okay.
We've never done a podcast.
I was going to say,
late,
tell me. I think we might have done once, but
yeah, it didn't turn out
because
that great.
nobody turns up.
Yeah,
Nobody comes.
I mean, what's the sort of like time zone difference? Like, what sort of time is it over in? Like, I mean, I imagine like Joaquin and the people that watch us are they in America? Is it American?
I think so. So that would make it like 8 hours. After,
so it makes
we're 8 hours earlier.
So it makes it pretty damn early in the morning for them. It makes it like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. No, earlier. What am I doing? Earlier than that. Makes it like 4 a.m.
Right, yeah. So
essentially, we probably won't have a single viewer in the chat today, unless they're new and they stumble across us.
Well, I think our usual time is. No, it'll be in the afternoon because I think our usual time we're forward, so they would be 8 hours behind, so it should be like midday for around midday time.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
Because our usual time, I think, is quite early for a lot of the Americas. So
yeah.
Well, hey.
What was this in the chat that you put here? In our Discord chat. Any way to reduce delay between us, and even though there was a delay between us.
Yeah, there's a bit of latency. I can tell just by the way sometimes when I respond and when you respond. Don't have to worry about it right now, but
I mean,
there must be something we can do in Discord to speed that up.
I guess it's just a Discord thing, though. It's just that is just delay. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, is it? We're streaming online and talking to each other, but
no, I know, but other podcasters managed to get around it, so there must be a way.
Discord Nitro, let's go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's what it is.
I don't understand. I don't understand Discord that much anyway, let alone Discord Nitro. I don't know what would happen if I
don't know what Discord Nitro is. Isn't it like unlimited like posts to like channels and stuff like that? So it's like if you're like a really like active member. I really don't know.
Can you not do that? Is that just not like a thing you can do?
I don't know.
Anyway?
Discord's a bit of a scary place for me, man. I don't know too much about it either. Obviously, us just being console plebeians, we don't know too much about Discord and stuff. I basically just use Xbox Party Chat or MSN. So
MSN.
Yeah.
What a time, man. MSN Messenger. What does it even stand for? I don't know.
It's got to be like multimedia or like multimedia something network. I don't know what the S is.
Sexting.
What is like SMS? What does that stand for? Like SMS texting.
I don't know.
What is the
You're asking some very hard questions today. I wasn't expecting this.
It's got to be like podcast. media
late
spunk
episode
network.
Come by media spunk network.
At least that's what we used it for.
That's what I used it for. But...
yeah, exactly. It's got to be what it's for, right?
Okay, right. We're live on socials. Bim bam bomb. Let's get this show on the road.
Let's do it, man. Because we don't want to go too late our time. Otherwise, I might fall asleep.
Oh no!
And as much
we can't have that.
Our entire audience wants that to happen. I'm not going to give it to them.
I wouldn't do anything. If you fell asleep, I would just keep the stream going.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Too bad you're not the fucking.
I'm not the producer. I'm
producer.
not.
The words slipped my mind there.
You're right. You're not the guy.
Yeah, you're not the guy in the chair, dude.
You're not the guy. Yeah. All right. Well, let me know when we're jingling, and I'll get us in.
Oh shit! Yeah, let's do it. We're
just sitting in dead air. Like... Yeah. Okay, we're good. Okay, great. Brilliant. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 79 of the Quick Resume podcast. This is a late episode than usual, so if you're, early. It's all relative, really, isn't it? Life, just general, the cosmos. It's all kind of
get it back relative. On track, dude. Get it back on track.
If you're right. Anyway, so if you're here, thanks for coming. My name's Deck, and over there, having a big swig of his probably cup of tea, if I'm guessing, because I know him so well. That's Tim over there.
Yeah, that's me. I don't drink caffeine or lots of caffeine past 8 o'clock because I'm not a wild child like this guy over here.
You're not a wild child. Well, no, but you could there are other things you could have been drinking. But I know you so well that I knew it was not going to be like a malt drink, like milk and honey. You ever had any of that?
No.
Although you
have
a green tea face.
Yeah, I still drink green teas and like flavored teas and stuff like that. Yeah, I still do that. They're good for you.
Good on you. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I should probably have more because I just like the feeling of something warm going down my gullet. You know that.
Alright, there's no way you didn't say that with the intention, right? There's no way.
I didn't.
Really? You said that with no other context?
No. There's nothing else to interpret from that. Tea we're talking about. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, I probably should. I knew, like, do you ever have like Horlicks, anything like that?
No, most of the time it's like the Wait, Horlicks? What do you mean? Is that just
Horlicks
a type
is
of
like
tea?
It's
like a teammate.
It's like a nighttime. No, it's like it's like powder. It's like a nighttime malt drink. I think it's.
Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? It's one of those types of nighttime drinks that's meant to help you sleep.
No, I've never had anything like that. No, I kind of just green teas. Sometimes have like a hot chocolate. It's quite nice, especially this time of year. Bit of whipped cream, some marshmallows, dude. Goes a long way. No, don't come
Baileys.
at me. I'm just like I'm a grown man drinking hot chocolate. Don't come at me.
Don't you listen to him? No, don't tell him. No.
Yeah. Fed up with people throwing stones at me for this. Happens more often than you think.
Yeah. What? The stone throwing or drinking hot chocolate as an adult? Jesus, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Look, if this happens again, if any of you do, you're going to have to go through me. All right? And I might look like a small, hairy nerd who doesn't have it together.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Out of shape. You're out of shape.
However, and I'm out of shape. However, I'm quite long, and that's quite intimidating in the dark of night. Like, especially when I'm stood in a dark corner.
His silhouette will
quite
fuck
frightening.
you up. Yeah.
Yeah,
like, genuine.
As long as you can't see any of my defining features, and like it's so horrifying. All right. Well, I guess we should probably talk about something relevant to the show. It's been a quiet week, Tim. It's been a quiet week, but that's okay because they're all pertinent, poignant subjects. You know, they're I thought I could get a third P, but I probably could at the top of my game.
Purposeful.
But, it's a bit late. Okay, yeah, I would take that as well. Purposeful. They're all good topics. Is where I'm going with this.
Okay.
people join in like, oh, these two, they can't get to the fucking point, can they?
Yeah.
20 words later, and they're still thinking of synonyms.
Can't start the show.
So let's just let's dial things back a notch. Tim, how's the game brain? How's it going?
Yeah, man. It's going. I've got a lot more time on my hands at the moment. With recent news that I won't dive into, but I am now unemployed. So, it didn't end like that messy. I'm not like out on the streets or anything like that. I'll be fine. But basically, I've just decided to with it happening so close to the end of the year, I've kind of just decided to just sort of chill out for December, like enjoy a nice Christmas, take a bit of a breather, and then just sort of hit the job grind in January. So I think most people, even if I were to like apply something this week, by the time they get through all the stages and everything like that, I don't think people are really going to be hiring to the new year at this point anyway. Like, let's be real. Everyone's winding down. Everyone's got holiday booked off, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I thought I got a bit more time. I'll start playing some games that I haven't really played, or maybe chip away at my backlog. Good one, right? I don't chip away at my backlog. I start new games. I started Octopath
and
Traveler.
I don't finish them. Oh my god, you didn't!
I did.
Fuck's sake. Finish Elden Ring. Fuck you.
No. Never. I will never finish that game. So I started Octopath Traveler. For those, I have talked about it in the past. I did start it briefly, but like I proper dove into it this time. I'm about 6 hours in.
Did you play on cloud?
I have played it on cloud in bed. You'd be so proud of me, and I got an achievement and everything.
My man,
it was such a revolutionary moment where I was like, this can be done. Cloud gaming is a thing.
Yeah,
but
I'm
yeah,
happy for you.
Yeah, so I've been playing that, and it's glorious. I'm not gonna lie, it's an absolutely phenomenal game. The especially the world, like the world building, and like the graphics, the art style, the lighting in that game as well. Like the lighting on like the pixel art in that game is just, it's like breathtaking. Like some of the places you walk through. And it's like, it's not fully voice acted, but like a lot of like the main quest lines are voice acted, and the voice acting is so good in that game. Like it's amazing. I'm surprised they put so much effort in, considering it's just pixel characters talking, but like it's really good.
Do you know if it's a dubbed game, or is it just English? Is it just an English game?
I would imagine just English. I don't think it's dubbed, but
okay. Cool.
But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. But yeah, the voice acting is great. The music is like breathtaking as well for like all the places. Like it changes depending if you're in a town or in the wild or in battles. Boss music is like, it's like kind of Elden Ring standards, a little bit worse, but it's so good. So I'm thoroughly
very like grandiose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like super like yeah, just kind of intense. Yeah, like pianos and all that kind of shit, like a proper orchestra going on.
Orchestra, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
like a Game Awards show.
Yeah, exactly. Started on that. Not again, Nick. We talked about that enough last week.
No, I promised I wouldn't speak about it again.
Yeah, good. So I've been playing that. I did play a bit of Elden Ring, have made some progress on that, so it's not completely in the bin. And then I think that's about it, to be honest. I don't think I've really been playing much else. Pokemon, I've kind of decided to, as much as I'm enjoying it, I've kind of decided to put it down for a little bit. And
I forgot you got that fucking game.
Yeah, like I'm really enjoying it, and I got like my whole party to like level 40, and like I've given it like a decent chunk, but like there's quite a lot to do in that game. Like I'm only like 3 gym badges in, or like 4 gym badges in now. So like, and I think with everything going on, I'm just gonna leave it in the hopes that it might get patched and it might actually run above 15 frames at some point in my life.
Can only hope.
Yeah, because it's starting to give me a bit of a headache playing that game. So yeah, so that's kind of my game brain. What about you?
Awesome. That sounds good. That's a nice variety. And you know, I'm kind of like vibing for like something turn-based right about now. I don't know why.
Good, man.
Just something easy. I mean, I've still got Persona like in the background somewhere, but you know, a bit busy at the moment. You know, I think I've said to you before. I'm starting a new job in January. Like that's going to be very demanding for a year because I'm doing uni alongside it. But like, you know, I'm still playing God of War right now, and having a good time with that. That's lovely. That's kind of picked up a bit now. I'm happy with where that's at. I think the first 15 hours were they were still good. Like the game is still great. Like, but like I do have some real nitpicks with that game, like bigger nitpicks there than I did with the first one. And I spoke about this on a previous episode, so I'm not going to go into that again. But yeah, still playing that, and it is great. It is good. I don't know where ultimately I'm going to end up scoring it, but it is very, very good. I'm having a good time there. I don't think I played anything. Oh, I guess we finished Ship of Fools, right?
Oh yes, we did play that. There was something else where I was literally, you muted your mic to sneeze, and I was like, I think that's everything I'm playing, but I was like, I'm missing something. Ship of Fools. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, Joaquin.
And I tweeted about that. Yeah, I know. He's throwing a shade, isn't he? He turns up in the chat. And yeah, I did tweet about this. I'm trying to like, I don't know exactly what I said, but I said something to the effect of, you know, about Ship of Fools. It's like a near perfect co-op game. Like, you know, we finished that and we were like, we were like, I really can't think of much wrong with that. We had like 1 or 2 bugs. Like one of them we did have to hard boot the game for. And if it had been at a bad time, it could have ended a run. But thankfully, we caught it early, and we just rebooted. I think we had a bit of a problem. There was like one enemy type that we thought was a little bit annoying, but ultimately not too bad. And what was the third thing? Oh, there was a little bit too much ambiguity with like some of the signs and the UI. Like it was cute to begin with, but then as you got more and more into it, like the game would show you an icon, or it would show you like you'd get an item and it'd pop up on the UI for a second. And then it would disappear, and then it was not the end of the world because one of you can pick it up and you can re-drop it again. But ultimately, it just like was a little bit annoying here and there. But like these are such tiny little flaws. Like it really was one of the best like indie co-op games I think I probably ever played. It was just so concise and fantastic, really good.
It was a real good time. The gameplay was crispy, phenomenal. It was funny. Like the art design and direction was great. It just had some really good roguelite elements and stuff like that. That we'll probably go back and keep playing it as well because there's still so much to unlock. But yeah, like the whole like currency spend your money system and upgrades on your ship and what to spend your money on back at base. There was always lots to buy, like to the point where I don't think we really scratched the surface with most of the stuff. So that was really good. Man, it was literally, there wasn't really much I could say apart from I completely agree with you with like the UI and stuff. They needed just like an encyclopedia where you could read about all the items you collected. I don't know if that was a thing ever, but
that's it. Yeah, like because some of them there were like keywords in the game that the game didn't tell you what they meant. Like resonance was one of them. The guy was like, apply resonance to enemies. So, what does that mean? What does that mean?
We know it's like purple, like explosion, but we don't know what it does. Like, does it weaken them? Does it damage over time? Does it slow them? You didn't really know. We never did. I still don't know.
No. Yeah, we figured out. We figured it out at the end. It was like the death loop chain effect, wasn't it? Like all the enemies that had resonance shared damage. Then
they all took it. That's what it was. Okay.
We got there in the end, but only because we're geniuses, we figured it out.
At the end of the game,
yeah, at the end of the game, exactly. So I mean, that gets a big thumbs up, big stamp of approval from me. It was only 11. It was £12 down to £10.50 because it was on. I don't know. No, it wasn't on Game Pass. So why was it?
Just
I don't know why it was discounted, but it
maybe?
Was. Maybe, I don't know, but it's bloody brilliant. Yeah, totally recommend that as a quite a short co-op roguelike game. All the synergies and like progression in it was really good as well. We had like a couple of builds going, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like the build that we won the run on was like amazing. We had like sniper cannons, and then we got like which typically have short like clips. And we got beans, which makes the clips bigger, so we can do more with it. And then they bounce around, and we just kept adding stuff to it. Yeah, it worked for as novel as it was because you're just on a ship. You're in a ship and you attack by firing your cannons out. And you can you have like a paddle, don't you? If anything boards you, but like that's how it kind of works. It's just quite novel and it just works really, really well. Yeah, just really, really impressed.
I thought it was a smart idea for like tempo-based combat to only have 2 cannons for a 4 cannon spaceship. So you pick up and place the cannons where you need to do it. So like if enemies are only on one side or whatever, you have to pick up the cannon, move it over to a different part of the ship, put it down, load it, do all that. So that created like a lot of like good like rush moments and panic moments. Whereas if you just had like cannons on like both sides of the ship and you just run to them, it doesn't really work as good. I thought that was a good decision to make to do it that way.
Yeah. There are different characters with different specializations, and you could have different roles if you wanted to, and then you'd build your roles around each other based on what was dropped in the run. So just cool. I think, and I still think that it really just crystallizes my thoughts on like co-op roguelites or even like multiplayer, like competitive like roguelites being a really uncharted territory that hasn't really been explored that much. I think there's something there for sure. There's something there, and some of these games are just scratching the surface.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's nothing else. I think I've been playing. It's just God of War, Ship of Fools with You. I think we played a couple of games of Overwatch. I got to the end of the battle pass, so I'm now a cyber demon. I got that title. Let's go. Right in time for the season 2 on Tuesday. So that's pretty hype for me.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim. So let's start. The first, I've got a number of honorable mentions today because like some of it's like fringe Xbox stuff and some of it isn't, and I couldn't decide. So ultimately, I think the line is a bit more blurred today. But I just wanted to start by talking to you about what I messaged you about a couple of days ago, which was Monster Hunter Rise coming to all major platforms January the 20th, and Game Pass as well, which was it was a rumor from Insider Gaming. And then it was accidentally reported on by, I think, Xbox Germany, like the next day or like 12 hours later or something.
Yeah.
And then Cat was kind of out the bag, so the trailer just got released. But I kind of am really surprised about this. Like, what were the thoughts on this happening?
It definitely took me. It definitely caught me off guard. I was not expecting that. But then like kind of the more I thought about it, like the game did have like a PC port as well, and I know that like with that, like sometimes it can be like Xbox and PC games can be quite cozy, and sort of share the same space a lot of the time. So I was just like, it kind of makes sense, It's definitely easy if they wanted to get it on another console. It's definitely easier to do it. It makes more sense to do it with Xbox than it does with PlayStation. In that sense, with the whole like ecosystem thing. And like you'll probably be able to share your PC file with your Xbox file and vice versa. I would imagine, maybe. Like if I were to guess, like I'd like to think that's probably a thing, considering, like I said, like the shared ecosystem, maybe.
It has been confirmed that there's no cross save for other platforms, though. There might be from
like PC to Xbox and Xbox to PC, but not necessarily Nintendo to Xbox. Nintendo to PC.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know, but all I know is that the major platforms don't have cross save.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, it's really exciting. It's really cool. I mean, that's the one thing we always said about Rise. Like, we put like over 100 hours into it, and we really enjoyed it. But we were just like, man, we wish this was just not on the Switch, right? Like it could just run better on another console. It's more comfortable to play on another console, both in like a party chat way as well. Like, because we always just had our Xboxes on and just joined Pi on an Xbox and then switched the source and played it on the Switch. It was just weird. We just had two consoles on.
That's right.
So yeah, it's definitely good that it's doing that. Is it a bit too late for us? I don't know. There's a lot coming out next year. I feel like it might be a bit too late for us to hop back and at least put the same amount of hours into it. But it definitely makes me excited for the future as well. Like, it's good to see that like this sort of partnership is forming between Capcom and Xbox and Nintendo and all that sort of stuff. It's nice to see. So
yeah, but for sure. I think I've been saying for like years, back to back before Monster Hunter World release, which I think was 2018. I want to say, like, I've been really scared that Monster Hunter is an IP that would get gobbled up by Sony. If you've been listening to the show, then me and Tim are like really big fans of Monster Hunter, and it's one of our favorite games to play together, regardless of platform. Really, we've been playing it back since the PSP days, and then we played it on the 3DS, on the Wii. We kind of followed that franchise really everywhere. And I've been really scared since PlayStation got really aggressive, with their timed exclusivity, that Monster Hunter would be one they would really gun for, because it's until recently it's kind of been predominantly a Japanese franchise. I think the maybe Monster Hunter try maybe turn that around a little bit with the Wii, but obviously nothing. The tide didn't really turn until World in 2018. So to cap off what you're saying, I'm glad that there does seem that Xbox have managed to land the Game Pass deal. because that shows that Capcom aren't, ready to fully leave the platform behind yet. Clearly, they see some appeal, if not Japan, on the West, on the Xbox side of things. So yeah, that's great, and I think it speaks well for the future as well. Because I think this is the first time we've ever seen a Monster Hunter game do this. Because typically, what's been happening is that if you don't know, the franchise alternates between like a mainline title and then a spin-off title.
Yeah.
And the mainline title would typically be on a home console, and the spin-off title would be on a portable console. So we had like Try was on the Wii, and then Generations was on the 3DS.
Yeah.
I think there was another one. There's another one I'm missing that was maybe on the Wii U, and then another one on the 3DS, and then World. There was another Generations, I think.
There was a Generations Ultimate at somewhere down the line.
Yeah, that's right.
And then maybe Monster Hunter 4U, was that before or after?
4U. That's right. I think that was before.
Yeah. It's confusing. Monster Hunter are very confusing,
it is confusing
with their releases. It's hard to follow. Yeah.
But yeah, point being that I think this is the first time that one of the releases has been across all platforms. It's a bit of a shame because ultimately it shows us that Nintendo paid, for 18 months timed exclusivity on Rise, really, which does suck. But it's coming now, and hopefully that means good things for the future. Like clearly they're seeing, they've got big old dollar signs in their eyes, and they're like, we're just leaving money on the table.
Yeah,
might as well put it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really, really happy about that. I do agree that the timing really isn't the best because everybody knows 2023 is going to be a bit manic. Even as Xbox winds up, we're expecting Darktide and Redfall, just to name two co-op games that would probably, compete with it.
Yeah.
In that space in the beginning of 23. So yeah, we'll see. But really, really good news, really reassuring, especially as well as, I think Capcom was one of the publishers that there were lots of rumors and talks about PlayStation eyeing up for acquisition, so
yeah,
looking good for now. Looking safe. All right. Sorry, I've got like frog in my throat. It's really annoying. There was, for the first time ever, a buy one, get one free deal on the Xbox Store, Tim. It was on Ubisoft games.
What?
I know, BOGOF. Can you believe it? BOGOF?
That's crazy. That's revolutionary.
Yeah.
Never heard of BOGOF.
I know. This changes things, truly. Doesn't BOGOF sound like it sounds like a sandwich or something?
Sounds like a Harry Potter creature.
Yeah, BOGOF.
Something from Fable or something.
Harry. Yeah. Harry, look out for the BOGOF.
Hey, it's behind
Hermione,
you.
I can't turn down these prices.
Just too good. Hogwarts Legacy releasing January. January? I don't know. February? I don't even know.
I can get 2 wands for the price of 1. No, Harry.
You've always got my wand, Harry.
Accio bum, am I right?
Here's some Accio bums in the chat.
Yeah. So yeah, that happened. I don't know what it means really. I mean, I think we can maybe take it to mean that there's more work going into the Xbox Store and how they're thinking about deals, because for a long time, Xbox has been the worst. Like the Xbox Store has been the worst with deals, like the worst platform, arguably. Like Steam is obviously like right up there. Maybe not Nintendo. Nintendo's maybe actually bottom of the barrel, but typically PlayStation have had better deals in their store. I'm obviously not talking about subscriptions and all of that. That's obviously better value, but just straight up deals.
Yeah.
Maybe they're looking to kind of experiment with that. And maybe actually, now that I'm speaking out loud, speaking too much, is that maybe this is like trying to pull people back into like retail price games. Maybe they're seeing too much traction on Game Pass, and they're like, "Can you buy something?"
Yeah, maybe.
You know, shareholders are expecting 3 trillion this quarter, and we're down by £5.
It's true. A fiver. Everyone's like, Phil, just throw in a fiver. No, put a BOGOF deal on the store. You think I made him money?
Yeah, anything but a BOGOF.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there's probably some sort of science behind it of why they're doing that and why they're experimenting with something like this, and it probably is something to do with Games Pass just soaking up a lot of it, especially when it comes to like third party releases and stuff like that. Ones that aren't first party coming into. It makes me really nervous and. When you're just laughing when I'm talking, dude. Like doing something wrong?
I'm sorry. No, nothing's wrong. You just reminded. I just like, can I get some Accio bums in the chat? I don't know.
It's a good one, dude. It's a clip-worthy moment.
Yes, it's a good one. Yes. No, it is. It is.
But yeah, especially with like third party, studios and stuff like that. Because first party, everyone knows that's always releasing into Games Pass. But yeah, these companies like Ubisoft that are shared platform are probably not seeing as much revenue coming from Xbox, and they don't really want to chuck everything into Games Pass right now, because that's still as much as it's proven itself, it's still relatively uncharted waters for Ubisoft to just be like, yeah, let's just throw everything in Games Pass. We trust it. They can't really do that to their margins. So yeah.
Especially with the whole Ubisoft Plus thing as well, right? They've got that in partnership with Game Pass. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're just like testing the waters to be like, can we supplement the money that Xbox gives us for putting our games on Game Pass with some, some deals that might encourage, adoption. Maybe somebody's tried Assassin's Creed Origins and they've tried Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Oh, what's that? You can get 2 for the price of 1. And you've played them both already, so you like them. I can see that being a workable strategy. So we'll see. That's good. Maybe we should have opened with this, but this is where we're at. I'm not going to apologize for who I am. Callisto Protocol and Darktide reviews came out this week. Did they not? Warhammer Darktide. And both of them, arguably underwhelmed. I think Callisto more than maybe Darktide. Because that game was, for a lot of people, really shaping up to be something that would be a game of the year for next year, contender. Yeah. And that hasn't happened. What's been your kind of reception to all of this?
So I would say I was pretty disappointed with the reviews for Callisto. I was expecting higher, and I've watched a couple of the reviews, one being IGN and one being I think like GameSpot or something. I can't remember. Was it GameSpot or Games Radar? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I felt like they were being kind of harsh on it, man. Like I felt like they were literally just like, yeah, it's a really fucking good game, but like it's just kind of Dead Space, but doesn't really do anything new. And then I'm just like. Well, not like it doesn't do anything new. It does do things new, but like it's more than just a Dead Space clone. Sure, there are a lot of similarities, but like hell, like the horror element is jacked up to like 10 compared to Dead Space from what I can tell. The graphics jacked right up. The whole like setting, I think, has been cranked up, and like where it's placed and stuff like that, because I think where was Dead Space? It's on like a ship abandoned, like the Ishimura or whatever it was called. I can't remember what it was. But I felt like the whole like it being like a prison that you were an inmate in, and it gets like infected, and then everything just goes to shit, and you have to like break out of it. I think that's quite cool, like the whole setting of that. And I don't know, man. I just felt like it's a bit harsh to look at that game and just all they did was just compare it to Dead Space, and because it was similar to Dead Space, they knocked off like 2 points from it, or like a point. It could have been an 8.5, but they just like knocked it down like an entire tier because they just felt it was too similar to Dead Space. I don't know. I felt kind of harsh. I felt kind of bad for it a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you, I've seen a couple of things about the game, but a lot of from what I've seen, like the big criticisms that I've seen hasn't been from reviews. It's been from like content creators just putting up their thoughts, and it's been like story was really just like didn't come together, and the dodge system was fucking awful, and like most of the game is like has like it's like a melee system. Like the majority of the game is melee, where you're very rarely in a one-to-one situation, and there's like no indicators of where something's going to attack you from behind, and so it ends up being quite overwhelming and starts to get quite clunky. That's what I've seen. But following on from what you've said, I do think there is something interesting to be said about like how fatigue affects reviewers. Not fatigue in the sense of like I'm so sleepy, but fatigue in the sense of like I reviewed Call of Duty last year and now I'm reviewing it this year. I just reviewed 6 shooters. There have been so many shooters this year, or there have been so many RPGs this year, and now I'm fatigued for this one. And there's, as always, there's like a perpetual conversation about reviewers and objectivity and subjectivity, and that really like on one hand, it's really unhelpful to be like, oh, you need to be real, you need to take your emotions out of it, take your feelings out of it, and you need to be objective with it, because it's like, what you doing then? How do I do that? You can't. What am I counting pixels? How am I listening to the hertzes on the on the sound? I don't think so. That doesn't make sense. So but then the other end of the spectrum is like allowing yourself to be colored by things like recency bias and primary bias. Primary being that something you've experienced something similar before, and now that's having an impact to you because it's the second time round. So there is a middle ground there, which I don't think you can really nail down to an exact science, but I do think there is something to be said about that. But like I don't doubt that there were some reviews that were influenced by the similarities, not only to Dead Space, but with a Dead Space game literally coming. A Dead Space remake coming in the next 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it is.
Soon.
Yeah.
I think it's literally coming out like February next year or something. I think it's like the first. It's definitely the first few months. I'm pretty sure it's either it's March or before. Yeah. So that definitely didn't help it. Just people knowing that's right around the corner.
And I'm sure EA are rubbing their little mitts together now. It's reviewed fine. It's sitting on a 76, which is perfectly good. And I've heard people say a lot of good things about it as well. Still, but I'm sure EA are confident that they can come out as the definitive Dead Space game. Because Calisto had an opportunity to dethrone it as the definitive Dead Space, but maybe we'll just need to wait for a sequel now until it kind of has its potential fully realized.
Yeah, definitely.
So then the other side of this was Darktide, which is currently sitting at an open critic of 75. It's been a game that we've both been looking forward to for a long time. It's long been marketed as an Xbox game. It's timed exclusive as far as we know. It's day one on Game Pass. It's come to Game Pass PC, but all we've got on an Xbox version is that it's coming shortly after. Who knows when that is? But by the sounds of it, we might be waiting a fair bit longer for this now because it's quite buggy.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Because my hopes, if you asked me 6 months ago what Darktide was looking to get, I would have said like mid-80s.
8 easily,
yeah, easy 8. But then, and even with like kind of recent previews, I was just like, this game still looks like a banger. Like nobody was saying bad things about it, and then it just came out like of nowhere, and it's just like, this game actually is kind of really buggy, and it doesn't really run very well, and it's just like, it just makes you think what kind of like gameplay slices they were giving out here. Because it's so weird that in my eyes and everyone else's eyes, the product just took such a drastic dip, and then it didn't surprise me at all when it settled at like a mid-70s in the end, which is very disappointing to past Tim. Past Tim was quite disappointed with that.
Yeah, no. Yes, that's a shame. That is a shame. And just for comparison's sake, Vermintide 2, Fat Shark's last game, scored an 83
Yeah.
So it's a fair dip in quality. You'd expect kind of a similar or an upgrade, but clearly this was pushed out the door for some reason on
Yeah.
PC. It maybe even we keep saying that it's disappointing that it got this delayed on Xbox, but maybe it literally turned up at Matt Booty's doorstep or whoever it is that manages these sorts of deals, and they were like, no. Polish this up and then come back to us. We can't have this dropping on Game Pass.
But then surely they would have delayed it too for the Games Pass PC as well. Like, why would they want the game to release kind of not ready for Games Pass on PC, but not for Games Pass on Xbox? But
maybe Xbox was just even worse.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm still holding my hopes up that this game with a couple patches will be that sort of low to mid 80s game we were hoping for, that itch we've been waiting for since Vermintide 2. And hopefully they iron out a lot of this stuff and release it with that latest patch and these latest fixes with the Xbox release from day one. So that's what I'm hoping. But yeah, ultimately, pretty disappointed. But I'm still looking forward to it. Like, it's still a game I'm gonna play. But yeah, just a bit disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the flip side of this, we've got, I would say surprising. I mean, I think it was surprising for a lot of people. It wasn't for me. I think I had it pretty fairly pinned since it's been revealed. Is Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is at an 83. It's settled at an 83, I think. Which is great for my fantasy critic that I've already lost because I chose Redfall and Starfield. You fuck me, right? But maybe I can climb up from 6th to 5th, so that'll be fine. But that's. I think we've all heard similar things, right? The narrative side of things is a bit hit and miss depending on who you ask. Like the talking to the NPCs and being your own character and everything is a bit. Yeah, it just depends on who you ask. But the actual gameplay, very Slay the Spire, inspired. Solid animation work. It looks whenever I turn it on to watch someone showing me gameplay, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, in game,
like fun.
Like I'd say the fights look good, but like I don't know, dude. When you're walking around and you're talking to characters and stuff,
it looks a bit boring, doesn't it?
I don't want to be a graphics snob, but that shit looks PS2, man. When you're just like,
no. I don't mean graphics. Yeah, I just mean like fun.
I think like graphics and lighting and definitely animations, I would agree with you, look actually pretty good mid combat. Like you don't notice it nearly as much. It's just really jarring when you're just like walking around like this hub area and talking to characters. That's when it becomes very alarming. This shit really doesn't look that great. And I know that shouldn't take away from a game, but like it's especially jarring in those segments. But yeah, I mean, they definitely did a good job animation wise and like mid fight graphics and stuff like that. It looks pretty damn good. Like it looks fine. Yeah. That's what you want out of a game. At the end of the day is good gameplay and good looking gameplay. So
yeah. It's definitely on my watch list. If that game ever turns up on Game Pass, that'll be an easy play. Not sure I'm ready to drop money on it right now. Even though I just said earlier in the show that I was kind of feeling a turn-based game. There's just a lot,
it's a
lot I could not spend money on as well. Octopath Traveler, like you said, is still there. Persona 5 is still there. I started that and haven't gone back to it in a while.
If it goes on a nice little sale over Christmas, which is unlikely because it's reviewed pretty nicely, like right out the gate, but. Yeah, and next year again, it's like I'm either going to play that game this year or I'm going to struggle to find a time for it next year. So like that's also kind of making me want to buy it a little bit. But I don't know. Yeah. I'll see if it goes on like a Christmas flash sale. You kind of never know. If they could knock off like 15, maybe 20%, maybe I'd buy it.
Yeah. Seems like that sort of game.
Yeah.
But for Axis, I don't really think have made a bad game yet. I do think their engine is starting to get a bit outdated. I don't know if they use something proprietary or they've just been using Unreal. I really don't know. But even like XCOM 2 was like a bit rough looking.
Yeah.
Like it was fine for what it is and what it needed to be, but it was still a bit rough looking then. And you can still feel it in Midnight Suns. So,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
it's good. Another good Marvel game. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting into a good cadence of these actually being done well, and that's good. That's good.
Absolutely.
Doom and Geralt are in Fortnite, Tim. Isn't that great? Doom guy's running around lopping heads off, blowing people's bowels out of their back. It's cool stuff.
They've already. Well, he's not doing that, is he? In Fortnite, he's fucking flossing. Let's be real. This man,
flossing with your guts, with your entrails.
It's cool, great. They're in Fortnite. Fucking whoop-de-doo. I love it. I guess I've come to the point now where my childhood has been crushed enough seeing Vegeta and Goku do fucking stupid ass dances.
Did he do the orange soda or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking to me, but it's kind of cool for people who play Fortnite to see these characters in there. But for me, I look at it and I just think cringe, personally. But that's just me.
I mean, yeah, you think that when they're like doing a stupid dance, but I think it is quite cool seeing them like reimagined in Fortnite. I don't know. I think it's quite cute. Like they've got like they've got like a different umbrella. Doom guy could use like a cacao demon. What are they called? The puffy things.
Yeah,
is that what they called?
demons.
Cocoa demon.
Hot cocoa demons. Yeah. That's the one.
Or and Geralt. I don't know what would Geralt use. Like
a bloater.
Bloater. Yeah. Wow, that came out of you fast.
Okay. Yeah.
I like it.
Thanks, man.
Maybe you could use agony. You could be like
agony.
You like agony. No, igny. You can igny down.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man is way.
You could do. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to ask anyway. I was really debating whether I should or should not say that. And if you rewind the last 30 seconds, you'll really see the struggle in my eyes as I decided if I should ask you or not. But Tim, what Xbox character would you like to see in Fortnite?
Fuck off, man. I'm done with this stupid podcast.
I'm a podcast host. It's what I do.
It's become a fucking shitty clickbaity experience and I'm out, dude. I don't know, man. Give me...
What would be the least offensive?
Give me a sec.
Okay, we'll do. You can do it, buddy.
I'm trying to think of something that could be quite.
Don't say a car.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think of something.
Don't say like a Honda Civic or something. Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking of just saying they could just fucking straight up scan Phil Spencer in there, but
oh wow.
Funny. But no, let's go with.
That would be good.
Let's go with Aviva. Let's go with Aviva Pinata. Let's go with a pinata. I want.
Yeah, that's a good one
to be running around as a pinata.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thanks.
Aren't there? Hang on. There's already pinatas in Fortnite.
They're llamas.
You're going to cause.
But they are pinatas technically, yeah. But I want Aviva pinata.
Are they is that the same thing? Is a pinata just a stuffed llama?
I think generally speaking,
animal is a pinata.
I think a pinata can be anything. A pinata is just a type of thing, but I think generally, stereotypically, I think a llama is the animal people make by default. Yeah, or some kind of.
So
horse.
hang on,
I don't know what the fuck it is. Alpaca,
a donkey. Because would it be weird if we just because that is a bit weird because if you just had a dog. Like an Alsatian, he just started smacking it. That's weird all of a sudden, He's a cat, just starts smacking it. All of a sudden, things are a bit weird.
Oh, but you're okay to smack a donkey. You know what?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't make the rules. I'm just observing, all right?
What would your character be, man? Stop hating on mine.
No, there's nothing wrong with yours. It's just it's opened up a bag of
Pinatas.
worms. I wasn't expecting to be open. Yeah, that was supposed to be open today. Yes. I was going to say like Ori or something, but I don't know how closely associated Ori is with Xbox anymore because we won't really be getting another one. But I like the idea of Ori. Did you play that again, or is that another game you've just dropped like a sack of shit?
You know what? I'm tired of being gaslit. Yeah, I have played it again recently. Yeah, but I'm not actively playing it. No.
Cool. You maybe Ori.
Yeah.
Maybe Joanna Dark.
Oh,
maybe
God, trying to impress.
Well, I'm just drawing on my vast knowledge of Xbox dormant Xbox IP. I guess it's not dormant. Let's go on to the next subject. The next topic is Tim. It's something we are going to be swinging back around to, but it's around Indiana Jones, the upcoming Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. We'll have him. Has he already been in the game? Don't know. Don't play Fortnite. Shouldn't have really asked, should I? Really? Shouldn't have really made it a topic.
He might be.
Here we are. Yeah. And so what happened this week is that Todd Howard, the god Todd Howard, was interviewed. He had like a 2.5 hour long interview with Lex Friedman on YouTube, and they spoke about Starfield. They spoke about a lot of things. And they just very briefly touched on Indiana Jones. So I just thought I'd put this here in like as the last honorable mention because they had a new project lead join this week. So it's just good timing to bring it up. But in the interview, Todd described Indiana Jones not only as a love letter to the franchise, but also as a unique genre mashup. And for audio listeners, I'm doing big old obnoxious air quotes. Unique genre mashup. Which that frightens me a little bit. Got to be honest with you. It's like Battletoads. It's like Near Automata. What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have no idea what type of game this is going to be, right? Maybe it's just like combining the action adventure with racing.
Yeah, maybe. Indiana Jones hits the track, hits the road, pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
You're like Indiana Jones car. So because obviously the big controversy, or I guess the big point of contention is that machine games are making the game. And machine games, of course, are responsible mainly for the Wolfenstein series, which is a first-person shooter.
Okay.
And Indiana Jones, it feels a bit weird as a first-person shooter. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem right, does it? You could.
Definitely could.
But so the question then becomes, is it primarily a third? Is it primarily first? And when Todd is saying genre mashup, do they just mean because there is driving segments and then there is, run away from the big boulder in the cave segments, and there is Tetris sections? What? Really could be me anything.
Well, I was expecting the Tetris to be in the game anyway, but the others, yeah. Well, as if it released it, like when Mortal Kombat did like their puzzle fighter. Imagine if it was just that. You remember that?
Oh, what a game! What a game! Yeah. Wasn't that a mini game? Was it a mini game in the game?
I don't know. I feel like it was its own thing. It was like an Xbox arcade game. I feel like it was its own title.
Was it?
Yeah. But it was great, dude. I love that game.
Wow. Yeah, it was. Yeah. What was it called?
I think it was just called like Mortal Kombat or something. Mortal Puzzle Combat or pretty sure I had the word in it. Puzzle. But yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, it says it on the tin. That's fine. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get a reveal for Indiana Jones. Well, there's a bit of reveal, but maybe we'll get a bit more in 2023. I doubt we see anything in the Game Awards, but who knows? And then maybe that will give us a bit more of a clue. But until then, it will remain a big fat mystery that Todd has once again dangled in front of us. Go, Todd.
You go, Todd.
I am a Todd simp. Okay. Right. On to the main stories for today, of which there are 4-ish. Yeah, depending on on your perception, on your interpretation, there's 4.
Well, I need to have like a
And if
certain
you can count.
perception level, do I? This is a really Starfield.
Yeah,
themed
it's like a skill
episode.
check.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I need like an
it is,
81
that's right.
perception, do I?
That's right. And so the first thing was really, it was something that happened kind of late, like late after the show last week. So we just missed it, which was a bit annoying. So it would have been a good thing to staple onto the back of that show. But it was supposedly, right, surrounding with everything that's come out around the ABK deal, Sony has offered to put PS Plus on Xbox. As kind of maybe a compromise or a middle ground for you can put Game Pass on PlayStation if we can put PS Plus on Xbox. And supposedly Xbox declined. And I had like kind of a bit of euphoria when I read this. I had like an awakening because I was like, actually, yeah. Like if I could get access to PS Plus, Game Pass, and Nintendo service, regardless of what platform I chose, that'd be great. I don't know. It's just I never thought of that. I never, for whatever reason, I never thought of the idea that other services could go to Xbox rather than just trying to get Game Pass everywhere else. That just seems like a good solution to me. Sony gets access to all the Xbox users who would otherwise probably not buy a PlayStation.
Mm.
I don't know. Are there downsides here that I'm missing?
It makes me think like what it would do to hardware sales.
Yeah.
But like apart from that, I mean, yeah, obviously it's very beneficial for the user, of course, for us, to have everything and just be like, I can just buy one console, and then just choose where I want to put my £20 subscription to. Do I want to be an Xbox main or a PlayStation main, or if I'm loaded, I can have them both. Yeah, definitely, it's only beneficial to us. I just wonder what that would do to the hardware sales and like production of hardware in the future. Like, how would the innovation of consoles go moving forward when really all that's behind it is it would just be sheer power, wouldn't it? Everyone would just outdo themselves with only power, knowing that that would be the console people buy and they can have access to whatever they want anyway.
Yeah, well, that's right. In my mind, this would drive more innovation and R&D in the console and accessory space. Because for a while now, consoles have kind of just been like, just crank it up another notch. Like that's kind of it. Oh, that's great. That is great. But you look at Switch compared to everything else. It's like it's a portable console, but it's also not. There's less. Sony have done great with the DualSense. There's good innovation there. There's more to do on the accessory side. Again, PlayStation are pushing for that with more of their VR stuff. But and I guess like the other side of this is that the way I was envisioning it is that they would like let's just for the sake of argument, let's just chop it down to just PlayStation and Xbox offering their services on one another's console. Is that they wouldn't have any of the third party games that we have on on Game Pass. It would be just you'd go to the store and it would say Xbox Game Pass first party catalog, and you'd have access to X amount of first party games, and maybe as an incentive to continue to buy the platform that these games are made for, those subs services would be trimmed, or they would be time limited, like more time limited, or they would be delayed. It will come out first on the PlayStation, but if you wait 3 to 6 months, you can play on your Xbox on the PS Plus service, which is what PlayStation is doing to its own users anyway. But for Game Pass, they could do that as well. And I just feel like there's a lot of tinkering they could do with how they offer their own service on a competitor's console to maximize their own console sales. Do you know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but I think I think I know what you mean. And yeah, I definitely see what you mean on the accessory driving innovation like side of things. It would force people to, it would force hands to do that sort of thing, wouldn't it? And Xbox has been lacking in that area for a little while, I think. So like if this were to like release to market like tomorrow, like this news, like you can just get everything on any game, you know. I think PlayStation sales would go up pretty dramatically just because it is the console that's innovated more this year with its controller and like upcoming VR and stuff. So people were just like, if I could buy like any hardware and have everything access to Xbox games and PlayStation games anyway, I'm gonna buy the one that is more innovative in areas where the other isn't, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, and it's a fair point. I guess the one area that we've maybe missed is kind of like features and services, and arguably value. You know, you could still argue that Game Pass is still a feature. You know, Game Pass is still considered the better service, so you would still be saving. You'd still get more bang for your buck with Game Pass because of all the third-party offerings and deals that Xbox do for, you know, day one Darktide, day one Pentiment's first party, but you know what I mean. Plague Tale, Requiem, things like that. You'd still get more value because of that. So that would still be a draw to the console. Then you've got things like Quick Resume, you've got things like Smart Delivery, you know. So that would be another angle, is I think it would drive innovation in features. You know, maybe we'd finally get that achievement overhaul that would actually, you know, do something. Maybe the avatar overhaul, you know, so it'd put a lot more emphasis on what the console could do. Yeah, right. So yeah, it'll be an interesting world, and it's not happening. Clearly, it's not happening. You know, and it's a bit annoying because you know, that I guess I'm a bit biased. I hadn't even considered the fact that the PlayStation would even want to make that offer. You know, whether they were actually making it, you know, in good faith, or they were just, you know, they knew it would be turned down, and you know, you can now use it as leverage in the deal, because it doesn't fit with or at least Sony's, you know, public facing strategy is that, you know, exclusives are important and generations matter, you know, all this, that, and the other. It doesn't fit with that strategy really. So for them, this is quite surprising to me, for them to be like, oh yeah, we offered to put PS Plus on Xbox. So it kind of, and it also makes me think as well, like how badly shafted would some of these games be, and also how would it work? Because like, I could see a world where it's easy for Xbox because they're just like, yeah, you can just stream it. You know, technically, you have access to Starfield on your PS5 if you know, have the subscription, but you know, you stream it. We haven't built the game for the PS5, so you're not playing it natively, but you can stream it.
Yeah,
which is fine. You know, maybe in another year, 2, 3, 4, when streaming is like ace, that it would be fine. But whereas PlayStation would have to build it natively, you know, so, or port it over themselves, and that would be, you know, that would cost, and that means the subscription would probably have to be more expensive. And I think Sony would like really gimp it as well to make sure that somebody who primarily wants to play Sony sorts of games would still go to the PlayStation console as their first port of call.
Yeah. I mean, there would definitely be lots of subclause to this and lots of shit going on in the background. It wouldn't be as easy as just, you have our stuff, we have your stuff. Yeah, like 100%. They're going to want to pull people over to their hardware for some reason or another. There will be multiple reasons, whether it's hardware or software related, feature related. You know, they're going to try and hit all the marks to get someone to buy their console over theirs. So yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's never going to happen, but it wouldn't. People looking in at this and just being like, oh, why did they decline it? Like, this could have been a perfect world. It's like, yeah, but like, there's a lot more to it than just the face value of Sony were like, have these games, and Xbox were like, no. It wasn't just as simple as that.
Yeah.
It never would be. But yeah.
That's why, you know, a lot of this is kind of leverage at this point, but like, I do like that idea. I think that is like a good start to like this kind of world where there's a lot of softened exclusivity, like hard exclusivity is the way we're going, really, you know, with especially all these acquisitions. And I think that we've had this conversation before about, oh, it drives competition, it's good for everyone. It's like, well, you know, speak for yourself. You know, it depends, you know. it depends. It's not always that clear cut. Like, if you lose a game franchise you love, tell me that that's good.
Yeah.
Of course, you can go and buy the other console as well, but what the cost to you? Like, there's a material cost to you. Then, so how has that worked out for you? You could argue there's this ambiguous long run benefit, but it just depends, I guess. It's just what I'm saying. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So, big Black Friday. Did we talk about Black Friday already? Have we spoken about? I don't think we have we? Did you buy anything for Black Friday?
No. I mean, I bought my Xbox Series S, which was technically I bought it in an early Black Friday deal. And then I actually, funnily enough, I just got an email from them. It's just like, we've refunded you 99p because we reduced it even further on Black Friday. So I got 99p back. So
big bucks.
Yeah, so that I technically bought that on Black Friday, which actually is the entire point of this story. Right, Deck?
Wait, what?
This story.
What do you mean?
Oh, fuck. I misread it.
Was it a Series S?
I thought I just read it as just Xboxes were the most sought after, like Xbox next generation consoles, but not Xbox Series X. Fuck's sake!
It was a really good effort. No, I like where your head's at.
This is why I'm only the producer. I'm not the host.
Well, speaking of producing, Xbox Series X was one of the most produced and sold and bought and sought after items in Black Friday. I'm not just talking about gaming. I'm talking about all items on all of Amazon. There's a lot of them. There's at least, you can count it on probably a couple of thousand hands. All of them. Xbox is one of the most. I think those are the top two. I think. Hang on, let me check my notes, see if there's anything else. Nope, that's it. That's all I put. So it was. I think it was the second most from what I remember seeing. PlayStation 5 wasn't even in the top 5. Switch was there somewhere, I think. I'm not throwing shade. It's just how it is. We're an Xbox podcast. So it's not BM. I'm just saying how it is. Which is obviously this wouldn't. I don't think this would be immensely surprising that. Maybe I don't know. I feel like Xbox has always performed really well on Black Friday because they're currently the less dominant console, so people snap them up as their secondary console. But there are two things that make this really surprising. Firstly, is that it was the Series X, not the S.
That's true.
The S was on a crazy deal.
Yeah,
at least in the UK. The second thing is that this is within 2 weeks of God of War Ragnarok launching. That's kind of crazy to me. Like that, I would have thought those bundles would have been selling like hotcakes. Maybe it became a supply issue again. I don't know if Xbox just have more supply now.
Yeah. I think they do generally.
I think they do as well. Which begs the question, if they both had even supply, would these numbers have been different? And I would have liked, yes, I suppose, but like this still surprises me. Like I don't know, it just strikes me as really bizarre.
It is bizarre, especially when you, like you said, with the whole like God of War thing releasing, like in this time space. It doesn't make much sense. The only thing that makes sense is, like you said, is people snap it up as their secondary console, or it's more like along the lines of, I want a PS5, but obviously supply issues. I was going to get an Xbox Series X at some point anyway, and they're not having supply issues right now. They're on a Black Friday deal. I'm just going to buy one now. Ideally these people might have liked the PlayStation 5 first, but they were going to get a Series X anyway. But yeah, supply and just the timing of Black Friday deals, they ended up just getting this. So yeah, I think that's what it probably comes down to, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, well, good for you, everyone out there who got their hands on a Series X. And that's the other side of it is that Xbox has had a really weak year. Who's looking at all the articles written about the Xbox this year and be like, I've got to get one of those.
Yeah, True. Well, there's a lot of articles for the future and 2023, and 2023 is
Right,
just around the
yeah.
corner. So, bear that in mind as well. But yeah, our year has
Yeah,
been
so
pretty weak. Halo's got Forge now though, so let's go.
that is true. It does have Forge. Speaking of Forge and the game that it is currently in, which is Halo Infinite, 343's multiplayer director recently left the team after being on Halo for 11 and a half years. Tom French was the guy with the big beard. Do you remember him? You might
I
remember
do.
him.
Yeah,
Massive beard.
I know the guy. Yeah.
Always seemed like a really cool bloke. So, and I don't think this is really. I was like, should I bother even putting this in the notes? But I thought it was worth touching on, maybe just a place to have a quick pit stop about Halo, with Forge, and kind of get a temperature check on, like, are you seeing Forge clips go around? Like, what's your feel on the internet's feel of Infinite post winter update, which was, halfway through November, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really seen anything about Halo Infinite's winter update on like my YouTube feed or anything like that. And I watch quite a lot of content creators that don't necessarily cover it as like a main game, but they do upload videos on it and have in the past. And weirdly enough, my feed has been getting fucking smashed with Battlefield 2042. And then you update and people are playing that, and I've watched videos on it and I see videos all over my feed on that, but I don't for the Halo Infinite winter update, overhaul, and Forge and stuff like that. So in that sense, I don't know, it still seems kind of quiet to me. But from like an actual numbers perspective, I really don't know how well this is hitting. But yeah, I've seen a resurgence on something like Battlefield, but not Halo, which I don't know if that's worrying, but
Yeah, I think like Battlefield 2042 is definitely having its moment at the moment. It's hard to say how. I haven't played it, and I haven't really seen much about it. But I know, I've got two friends who have been playing it myself, and I have seen some chatter about it. I follow quite a few people who cover Halo stuff on Twitter, so it's quite hard for me to get a sort of a clear take on it. But what is clear is that the initial launch of Forge hasn't had an enormous effect.
yeah.
I definitely have seen a lot of very cool stuff like on my feed. That you would imagine. Like, a lot of the stuff is crazy. It even prompted me to boot the game back up and download a couple of things. I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks back on the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to have had like the massive rejuvenating effect. But the problem is that, I see, because as always, people are out there comparing Steam numbers. Like, Halo still isn't, it still isn't a PC franchise. If we had Xbox numbers, I think it would be more accurate, because Steam, like I said, on Steam, Battlefield 2042 is having a little bit of a resurgence. Not a lot of lows, don't get me wrong, but it's like in the 15K region, whereas I think Halo on Steam fluctuates between like 5 and 8, maybe 5,000 and 8,000 on Steam. So it's really low. But it's still in like the top 20s or top 25 on Xbox most played. It's in the same region as like Destiny 2 on Xbox. So, we'll see. I think it's one of those things that I think that it's always going to be one of those things that slowly builds itself back up. Because all the things for Forge are there right now, and all it will take is a couple of updates at a good cadence to advertise it. Maybe when the next update rolls around in, I think it's March, there'll be, some landmark Forge map, so they can say this was made in Forge. Look at this custom game that's so fun, and look at this new weapon that's being added to the sandbox, and this new piece of equipment, and these 2 new dev made maps, and these 4 new Forge made maps, and wow, look at the size of this package. And the next one is in 3 months' time in May. So like, May or June.
Yeah.
That's what they need. They need a steady cadence.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think with more updates, Halo's just going to bring more and more people in. As appealing as something like Forge is, and like I think they added career progression as well for this one, didn't they? like match XP.
No, career progression isn't in yet.
Match XP is not in yet. Like the whole like
match XP, as in you get XP. You get XP for performance and just playing rather than challenges.
Oh, okay.
Or battle passes.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think when that sort of stuff sort of comes in with later releases that are on track and don't get delayed, that on top of like, you know, the slab that is like Forge and all that sort of stuff, I think will make it more appealing. Because people need to come back. People don't want to just come back and goof off on Halo. Like, sure, that's fun and people enjoy that, but people want to come back and experience Halo as the package they want it to be, you know, and how it used to be in Halo 3, the ability to dip in and out, to just be like, oh, let's play some Social Slayer, let's play some BTB, let's play some multi-team. Oh, I kind of bored of sweating out now. Let's hop in Forge, you know, all that sort of stuff, bouncing between those two. I don't think people are enjoying bouncing between the two in Infinite yet, still, you know. I think it's kind of one or the other, or just one. So, yeah, I think with later releases, hopefully it starts to see an increase. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not enough to bring me back. In all honesty, I haven't even been close to booting up Halo Infinite. So, yeah.
Like I said, I've booted out for custom games. Like, I want to play some of them, to be honest. The multiplayer I don't really care about right now, because I just am more into Overwatch. Like, Halo really missed its chance to hook me in 2022 and probably 2023 until it really gets going and starts firing all cylinders again. But, you know, that happens. That's just,
yeah.
You know, unfortunately, that's what happens with some of these live services. And Overwatch, like, even if Overwatch and Halo Infinite had released at the same time, Overwatch would have always been my preferred multiplayer shooter. But yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, so supposedly, well, let me start by saying this. Serbia, our good friends over at Serbia.
Yeah, love them.
Shout out to Serbia. Approved the ABK deal.
Oh, let's go.
You know? Salute to you, Serbia.
They approve anything. Serbia is a pretty crazy country.
However, you might think that's good news. Well, that is good news, but you might think there's only good news, but there's not, of course, in this roller coaster of, you know, it's hell. Mm-hmm. Supposedly, Microsoft are due to offer concessions to the EU regulatory body soon, and those concessions are a 10-year non-exclusivity deal over Call of Duty with PlayStation. This is coming from insiders, quote air quotes, at Reuters. So we don't really know, but I think this has been corroborated a little bit. So this was following on from the story last week that Xbox had publicly said that they've offered 10 years, and Sony hadn't publicly. They declined to respond.
Yeah.
When journalists follow up, they're like, "Nah, didn't happen. I'm not saying anything."
Yeah.
So, Tim, are we like? Can we? If you're Jim Ryan, you own Sony. Evil Microsoft is gobbling up your cereal, your Call of Duty, and he comes to you and he says, "No." And he comes to you and he says, "Listen here, Jimmy boy, I give you 3 years. 3 years to whip up a COD better. We won't do it. We probably won't make it exclusive. But just in case you start being a little bitch, 3 years is what you get, like guaranteed." And you say no. 3 years not enough. No. So you go away. Who are you in this story? You're Jim. I go away. I'm Phil. I speak with the board. They say up into 10. I come back and I say, "Listen here, Jimmy. I've thought long and hard about what you've said, and I've thought, wow, this is truly pathetic that you can't do it in 3 years. But so you know what? I'll over triple it. 10 years, no exclusivity. Then we can have this conversation again. How does that sound? What do you say?
You come back here and only triple it? Are you fucking serious? What the fuck's going on, man? I offered to put my PlayStation Plus on your platform, Phil. This is unreal. I want 20.
Yeah, but you also put a pipe bomb under my fucking pillow. You're admitting that fact,
Mate,
Jimmy
it
boy.
didn't do anything. It only killed your dog. Your dog shouldn't be on the bed anyway, Phil. Anyway. I want 20
Yeah,
at least.
discipline.
20 minimum.
Yeah.
I want COD until I'm dead and I'm no longer working for Sony.
Yeah.
That's when you can have
someone else's
COD.
fucking problem.
Yeah. No, in all seriousness, it's probably how it
That's
went
got to
down.
be enough.
Yeah. But
yeah, apart from the pipe bomb thing, just disclaimer, that was a joke. Funny guys, the pair of us, a couple of goose eggs.
Yeah, I feel like it's a sad time we have to disclaim our pipe bomb joke was actually a joke.
Well, just in case.
I
don't want to get like a DMCA from Sony.
You don't want to get a pipe bomb yourself.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's very generous. Yeah, that's insane. Like, I feel like 10 years is such a long time in like the console space. That's literally like potentially like another couple generations of consoles that are gonna be.
That's like next gen.
Yeah, and it's just easy. Like easy. Yeah, it's like probably a couple years into the next gen. The current gen we're in now. Yeah, like there's so much time to just whip up another competitor. And like we said, it's not like it's like 10 years and the rug we pulled under your feet. Like we've already said, I keep saying we, it's kind of toxic. Phil's already said
our biggest sponsor. We
Phil has
the Xbox Nation, bro.
Phil has already said that he wants to keep it multiplat. It makes sense from a financial standpoint. So it's not like a ticking time bomb, like you said. It's like it's in case Jimmy Boy doesn't play ball or like he just offers like 1 penny for COD after 10 years. It's just like, cheers to exclusivity. Right. For the 11th year, we'll offer you a penny to keep it on our console. And Phil's like, nah. And then he gets taken to court. Pipe bomb. But like, it's generous. The bottom line is that's something they should take, I feel.
Yeah, and this kind of comes back to one of my concerns that I spoke about last week, of like, at what point are the regulators going to be like, yep, that sounds good. Like, Sony, you should probably take that. Like, if Sony don't want to, but the regulators think it's fine, what happens then?
Yeah, well, they just miss out on a 10-year deal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, I feel like at some point the regulators are going to have to be like, no, I think that's probably okay. You should take that. And, Jim's over there, like, sobbing into a bucket of ice cream. Like, no.
But what about Advanced Warfare 2? That was in the pipeline.
Yeah. Oh no. So I feel like we must be approaching that, that line where the regulators are like, I mean, a decade, bro. Like, I know you bought me a yacht and you brought my son, tickets to the Knicks game.
But you're just gonna leave it there. And you bought my son tickets to a Knicks game.
You gave me some breathing room. Yeah. I'm so much happier now that he's gone. You gave me a big wad of cash. Yeah. Where was I going with this?
In all honesty, I don't know. This whole thing's a joke. We're right on trend with it.
This will really stress me out.
No, you.
Embarrassing. Yeah. Embarrassing to do a podcast and not even be able to do a podcast. Where am I?
That's my line, dude.
Yeah. So ultimately, I feel like the regulators, that's what I was saying. Yeah, the regulators have to be like, no, like if you don't accept this, they're just gonna like tighten up on you. So because then we start going into like 15 years territory, 20 years territory. Like, do you really need that much?
And this is exclusivity on everything, right? Not just COD. So like,
no, this is just for fucking COD.
Oh, it's just for COD. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I guess that's the only upside to this, right? That there's so much focus on COD that like it kind of dilutes the other IP a little bit to the point where if there's a Diablo 5, Xbox are like bang.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should have spoken about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sony literally could be like, fuck, we forgot about Diablo.
Oh, for God, Diablo. I forgot about Overwatch 3.
God, we're idiots. COD's dying off anyway. What's wrong with us?
Yeah. Especially with the whole thing we spoke about last week with Bungie, you know, you literally own Bungie, like,
yeah,
like, and that's like at some point someone has to point that out. Like, I don't know if these regulators know that. Like, they'll be able to see that Sony bought Bungie for $6 billion. They'll be like, oh, Bungie, isn't that one of those things you jump off a cliff with?
Yeah,
and Microsoft are like, yeah, maybe you should.
It's expensive for a Bungie rope, Sony. No, yeah, fucking Bungie literally made one of the most revolutionary FPSs ever, if not the most. And they also have made Destiny, which is equally as kind of revolutionary. So, like, yeah, if you was to just be like, can you just make me another shooter? They'd probably do a pretty good job. Like,
that's right. Yeah. And the only thing is that clearly Bungie have signed up with PlayStation, you know, with the stipulation that they want to remain multiplat, because that was in big letters on the acquisition, you know, on Bungie's website.
Yeah.
And it kind of strikes me that now that this is happening and like, you know, Sony don't have the leverage anymore. They don't have the leverage to make an exclusive game. Yeah, like, yeah, sure, they can make a Bungie new IP first-person shooter and, you know, market it as a PlayStation game, get it on PlayStation Plus, but ultimately it's still not exclusive.
Mm.
But that's your fault. That's your fault, isn't it? You know, but we'll see. You know, maybe they wriggle their way out of that and they manage to do some exclusivity anyway. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we're getting to that point now where everybody has poked each other enough, and this is a sort of a middle ground.
Yeah.
For everyone. So the follow-up to this is that the FTC, the Federal Trade
How slow are you at typing stuff into Google, man?
How I got one. Commission, the Federal Trade Commission, supposedly ramping up for a lawsuit, for an antitrust lawsuit around the APK deal. You know, this is coming from Bloomberg, again, reported by a source familiar with the deal, air quotes again, you know, it's not official. And this is because Xbox supposedly haven't made a remedy proposal to the FTC. You know, the previous thing we just spoke about was for the EU, which would suggest they're probably still okay with that internationally. But, you know, whatever. According to this story, there hasn't been a remedy proposal. Xbox then came out, you know, they puffed their chest out, you know, they like blew into their thumb, did the whole Popeye thing, so that their chest went really big, and they said, you know, we're ready to go to court. We will do it for the players. You know,
for the players,
we will do this. Yeah, for the players, which I thought was quite funny because it's clearly Xbox, well, remaining confident, firstly, but also being like, you better be sure you want to take this to court because we're going to fight for it. Like, we believe we've got good enough grounds to have this passed.
Yeah. Especially with the deals that are on the table right now and being offered. Yeah, 100%. It shows confidence. And yeah, that's about it, really. I can't really say much more on it.
Yeah, gloves are off, mate. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, the last thing for this week then. What time? How long have we been going on for?
1 hour, 30 minutes.
Have we? That's lovely. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's great. Good job, everyone. And it's you know, it's that part of the show before the final story, and not halfway through the video like I always plan to do, but forget. to remind you to like the video if you're listening. If you're listening on a podcast service, to maybe give us a review. Maybe consider subscribing. Come follow us on Twitter. That'll be just hunky dory. That'd be great. Thank you for your kind words and support. Yeah. Okay. Last story, Tim. Circling back to that Todd Howard interview that we were talking about, they did a lot of talking about Starfield. Obviously, why wouldn't you? And there was a bit of an info dump here, a lot of things to talk about with this game. And actually, I sent you a little B-roll, a little footage on Discord if you just want to share your screen and boot it up. I don't know if it will just play on loop, but that'd be quite cool. But I saw that tweeted out, and that was from Colt Eastwood, one of the over the pond, and I forgot how good the game looked. Legit, I was like, oh yeah. Because we speak about these things so abstractly all the time. And then when I actually see the game again, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why I was so excited when we saw this, live at the showcase. So no, we can have that on the B-roll in the background while we speak about this. But
yeah, I'm sorting that now.
Yeah, a couple of things to go over. The first thing is that Todd said that Xbox top engineers are helping with Starfield development on the Xbox Series and Xbox S at the moment. And this this kind of tied into one of the larger points in the interview that Todd was saying, how is it doing exclusivity, working with Xbox is kind of the leading platform now. And he said that on one hand, it's great just developing for Xbox. They can focus more resources on one platform and really squeezing the resources out of that. As evidenced by what he said here, that top engineers are helping. But on the other side, that this is the first time that they've been a platform seller. So there's a bit of extra pressure for them to really nail it, because Xbox are expecting them to be the marquee game of 2023, probably. So with all that in mind, any kind of thoughts at all about that, an Xbox helping out with development, and Todd's thoughts on the exclusivity angle?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I was focused on getting all that to run in the background while you were talking.
That's okay.
So you give me boil it down for me once more, and I'll give you a response.
No problem, buddy. Xbox is helping Todd and the team out, developing the Starfield running on the Series X and S. Todd has said that he likes making exclusives because it's helps them really trim down their resources and just focusing on one platform. But he's also said that the downside is that there's a lot more pressure to be the console seller for Xbox in 2023.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think you can argue that from both points, as Todd proclaimed, because there is absolutely no doubt, nobody can say that there is not just an insurmountable amount of pressure on Starfield to be an absolute banger.
There is. Yes.
I feel like that by default, even if Starfield, I don't want to sound like a little bitch here or an Xbox bot or whatever, but I feel like even if Starfield is a 9 out of 10 game, the minor things wrong with it and criticisms are going to be looked into so much more, and will probably knock it down a point and a half just based off the amount of pressure that's under this game to be exceptional. And yeah, you could argue that from the fact that it is, kind of, it has taken on that mantle, hasn't it, to sort of be that next big shooter,
the Xbox game,
the next big RPG exclusive to Xbox. Xbox bought this company for this reason. It's just
that's right.
Well, no, we didn't buy Bethesda for Starfield. We bought Bethesda for Bethesda, but people, there's no doubt that people are thinking, Xbox bought Bethesda for this, so it better be a banger. But I also do completely agree that from like a building standpoint and like a technical standpoint, I can imagine how much time it saves only having to build for like one technology stack and one platform, and you could really flesh out your game to be bigger and better than it ever could be if it was multiplat. Which is actually, yeah, it's something I didn't really kind of think about, but yeah, no, it's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is. It's a good point as well. Like you say, that there is going to be a lot of association here about like this is really Xbox's chance to show the world why these acquisitions were worth making.
Yeah,
I think like this is we've had Pentiment, which is and Grounded, which are two smaller games from Obsidian, which have done really well, and there's definitely a big success stories there because arguably those sort of games are the real fruits of acquisitions, the ones that are that are quite risky and that wouldn't have been made. And Josh Sawyer, yeah, that's right. Josh Sawyer spoke about this publicly in all the interviews he did in the run up to Pentiment coming out and after the launch. He said that I don't think this would have I made this in mind with Game Pass in mind, and I think it really helped being part of Xbox. Same with Grounded, and that's great, but your wider audience is looking at these big titles, and they want to see proof that why is Xbox gobbling all these studios up a good thing. And if this really lands, they can point to it, and all all the consumers can point to it as, oh well, look at how brilliant this worked out. They delayed the game, which maybe they wouldn't have been able to do when they were independent. They have hundreds of we don't know the number, but lots of engineers helping on the game to get it all polished up. And it landed at mid-80s. Great, perfect. If it goes any higher than that, that would be wonderful. So like you said, it's not just needing to nail it for Xbox as like being back in the AAA game, because when was the last AAA game they really released was Forza and Halo at the end of 2021.
Yeah,
definitely, obviously just came out this year, but for obvious reasons probably doesn't count. But it's also to show that Bethesda can still make like cracking games, because their last title was Fallout 76. I think it was it wasn't Bethesda Game Studios actually, but largely by brand recognition, that kind of tainted the studio a little bit. But also to show, that partnership, like, and Xbox's strategy, like, is it working? Because if it doesn't, if a game comes out and it's like mid-70s, people are absolutely going to be like, this should have been better. They should have been given more time. Xbox should have given this more money. Like, how could they have all the money in the world and allow this to happen? It's kind of like what happened with Halo a little bit. Yeah. The only thing is that the Halo difficulties have been long-standing, but like people said the same thing. Like, how could the multiplayer launch with without Forge and without co-op? With all the money in the world. So, yeah, like you said, a lot of pressure, a lot of scrutiny for sure.
Absolutely.
But I thought it was just an interesting little tidbit to hear from Todd himself that and that he feels that there's always been quite a good partnership between Xbox and Bethesda, like with Morrowind and Oblivion, there was exclusivity with those games as well. So he feels that it is kind of natural and it works for him, which is great.
Yeah, definitely.
So one of the more interesting things, and it's one of the things I've got in the thumbnail for today, is that Todd mentioned that there was like Star Systems had levels attached to them. So if we remember back in the back at the showcase, we saw like a big zoom out moment, and there's not just tens of planets, there's not just hundreds of planets, there's thousands of planets, or over 1,000, whatever it was. And he said that there are levels attached to them. And I think he described it as like a level 40 system. Presumably you level your character up to level 40, and they're leveled as such. And this sparked a bit of a debate about like adaptive enemy leveling versus like fixed leveling. Do you know what I mean? Like you go to Alpha Centauri over there, and you're going to come across, like a Tron style human with like neon lightsabers, and they're going to ride around on motorcycles, and they're going to kick the shit out of you because they're hyper violent and they're cannibals. and they're like level 38, and they're always level 38, always. So you got to come back there later. Versus, I can go there and they'll be a bit harder. There'll be 1 or 2 levels over my level, but I could do it if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
What sounds better to you here? Is this like the right direction, do you think, for them to be fixed?
I think personally, it's very dependent on the game. And I feel like Starfield is a very exploring heavy game, and I feel like adaptive leveling might suit it a little bit more. And the fact that it doesn't shackle you to just like going in a certain direction or like walking away from a planet you would have otherwise been interested in because it's too high a level for you. It's a lot less restrictive if the game just adapts with you, so you can kind of just go where you want and wait like when you want, without necessarily being like hurt for it. And I think, but then it also works in the other way where it's cool to stumble across something that you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't be here. That's really cool, but I'm going to pin this shit and come back later when I'm stronger. And then you do get that cool feeling of being like, you come back and then you start kicking the shit out of them and you're like, okay, I'm back, boys. You get that cool like power feeling. So like you can argue it both ways, and I really think it's dependent on the game flow. So I don't know. Like that was one of my main criticisms of the new Pokemon game, is I was upset it didn't have adaptive leveling. So like even if I went to like a gym in a wrong order, like I go back to the bug gym at like level 50 and I'm like fighting level 3 Caterpies and I'm like, well, this just sucks now. This is just a waste of my time. I just want to spam A and get through it. So like I don't really know. It's really hard to say. My answer is kind of inconclusive, in all honesty. I think there are positives and negatives to both. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a fair point, isn't it? Because like I hadn't thought of it really being like, a detrimental the other way around. Like, oh, yeah, you could come across systems that are really weak. But at the same time, I think that kind of fits with the world a bit. Like, yeah, you're going to come across some planets where there are just bugs, they're weak little bugs. They just breathe and they shit, and that's it. That's all they do. So like, yeah. And there's resources, you just kill them and you get and you get gas sacks, and so yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It does definitely depend on the flow of the game. I don't think one is immensely better than the other, but generally I do prefer like fixed levels for that reason that you said. Like I like that I can go to areas and I'm like, wow, this is tough, and I kind of have to make that call on whether I think I can do it or not. Like the game doesn't tell me. It's not like, oh, it's too high, and it doesn't put a skull icon there. It just tells me the levels. It's just like, look, you're 10, and that's 25. And I can just make that call as if I want to try this or not. Like, I quite like that.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right about things scaling back up. I think that is quite interesting. But thankfully, because it's such a big game, I think, there is good opportunity for it to just be fixed and you just come across planets as you see fit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So I thought that was really interesting. Something else that was said was around the delay and kind of how that was really tough, but ultimately the right thing to do. He said that they wanted to say that they could get it done given the amount of work left and the amount of time remaining, but it was ultimately too much of a risk to the team, the game, the fans, and Xbox. And it kind of it makes me think of that conversation, like who instigated the delay? Did Phil walk in one day and he was like, look, I paid a lot of money. I have a serious dent in my Xbox wallet.
Yeah.
And this needs to slap. I can see frame dipping here. Delay this. I'm gonna give you another year.
Yeah.
Or was Todd like, actually we needed more time, like this isn't going to be at the quality bar, because like you said, he's feeling a bit more pressure, like maybe that's executive, maybe there's a bit more pressure from the top that he's not used to, saying like, you might usually get away with some bugs here and there, but we're battening down the hatches from 2023 onwards and we need this to be, really spick and span, so like I think maybe that the most topical point that relates to this conversation is kind of around the frame rate.
Yeah.
And how you would feel about this game being 30 frames, and or would another year allow them to have a 60 frame mode? Like, I don't know, because I think you could definitely argue that Starfield is the first real next gen game that we're going to get.
Yeah. 100%. Is it?
Like,
have they confirmed it's running at 30? Like, for launch?
No, they haven't. No confirmations. All we know is that the breakdowns of the trailer at the showcase were 30, and it did have a drop every hit now and then. It wasn't awful, but it did have a drop every now and then, and it was generally around 30.
Yeah. I mean, I said it a million times. I'll say it again. 60 is my preference. 30 is it's not fine. 30 is not great, but like I can look past it if there's a lot of meat to the game and there's a lot more bringing me to the game. I can play a game at 30. That's fine. I will not accept a game dipping below 30.
No.
That's kind of not cool. That screams to me more time in the oven. At this stage of gaming and the power of the consoles we have, and how even PC or whatever, these games should not be dipping below 30. But yeah, 60
No.
60 is my preference. And if this game launches at 60 and it was a result of the delay, I'm extremely happy with the delay. I wasn't even that mad with the delay anyway. Time well spent. Yeah, I wasn't that mad with the delay anyway. Obviously, I was when it first happened. I was like, "Damn, that sucks." I was really looking forward to Starfield this year. But then immediately, like, I sat in it for like 30 seconds, and I was like, "I'm also so hyped for this game. And if it needs more time, it needs more time. I'd rather wait a little bit longer and have the game slap than have a fucking kind of shoddy cucked experience." And that will always be my view on delays and frame rates and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, because there is like a good 30 frames per second. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you play games that are 30, but they feel like shit. And then other, like, I always thought Destiny felt very good for a 30 frames game.
Yeah, it did.
Because it was just, I think it's to do with the pacing. Maybe someone can correct me, but I think it's to do with the frame pacing, and that varies. Because even different games that are fixed 30 feel different sometimes. And I guess maybe with the B-roll that we've got going on the background, if you're a video watcher right now, like Tim, I wanted to, like, you seeing this again, like, are you thinking, oh, this is performing really badly? Or like, what are you thinking, like, seeing this roll again? You probably haven't seen it in months, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in ages. No, I know. Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see the dips and stuff, but no, watching this like back to back, it gets me excited for the game. Like, generally, it doesn't look bad. There are some dips here and there, but generally it looks to be running quite smooth. And those dips, you'd like to think is why it got those delays for those dips. And maybe they are just looking to lock it at a solid 30, but just not have those hitches that you can see. But no, it looks great. Like, it's getting me excited watching this again, for sure.
Yeah. I'm getting a bit of additional context now I'm watching it again, because I can see there are different levels by the health bars. And we just spoke about the level 40 system, right? And like I will say again, like, I think this game like looks visually really good. I was surprised when I first saw it. I wasn't, but I think having said that, I was thinking about this the other day. Bethesda have always made good looking environments. Their environments have always been good looking.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? They've always directed them very, very well. So yeah, I'm the same as you. Seeing it again, I was like, oh wow, yeah. Like, I tweeted about this as well. I was like, I forgot how good this looks actually. With a lot of the conversation being around like frames and this and that, I forgot actually. This looks really good regardless. But you are right. I am totally in agreement with you. Like, by all means, have it 30 frames on Series S if that's what needs to happen. But Series X, like, there needs to be a 60 frames option here. Like, I understand this is a very big game and it's very resource intensive. It's designed essentially for the Xbox at this point, pretty much. So do what you need to do, but make sure there's a 60 frames mode. I will be disappointed if there isn't.
Yeah.
But like you said, if there is a good fixed 30 frames mode, that will be okay. But I will be a bit disappointed because, like, I must say, at the moment, like playing through God of War, there's a 60 frames option and a 30 frames option. and it's just so nice playing that game at 60, especially because it's it's a very like reactive third-person combat game.
Yeah.
And Starfield, I think, will feel the same. It's literally a first-person shooter, So I'll be keeping a close eye on that. If we're really lucky, Tim, we might see something about Starfield at the Game Awards.
We could
on
do.
Thursday.
We could do.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible.
No, it's unlikely.
Release date?
But it's not impossible.
Yeah, because I mean, if Redfall and Starfield are truly going to be before next year's E3, then they need to announce it somewhere, and we might get a release date for both these games. That would be really hype. I'm doubtful, but that would be really hype.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. Be very hype.
Okay, and sort of tying into that conversation about kind of the performance and kind of exploration a little bit. One of the other big things that was spoken about, if you remember, around the reveal was, there's so many planets. Think of all those empty planets. That was like a big talking point, wasn't it? Like, they're all going to be empty.
Yeah.
Well, there was a bit more of a talk about this, and Todd says that what was it? Is that like all of the whole game is generated in tiles, like usually, and that's been going on for ages with Bethesda games. They make these tiles to look realistic, to make them look like realistic landscapes, put them together, and then wrap them around a planet, and then they build like kind of on top of that. So your golden path is going to have very highly detailed structures and lots of handcrafted stuff. And they've been working on this game a long time, so I don't doubt there's going to be lots and lots of handcrafted stuff. But then there's also going to be emptier planets with just resources, fart bugs, living toasters, that sort of stuff, so who knows really. Did you have a problem with this? Because you're like, with this being one of the things that was spoken about at the reveal, like, do you have a problem with this kind of procedural generation?
No, I didn't have a problem with it. I kind of expected it when they were just like over 1,000 planets. I was just like, I wasn't one of those guys where I was just immediately went negative and was like, half of them will be empty, only 5 will be playable. But like, I was literally like, it makes sense. You're gonna want planets that are just more resource intensive, and then you can like plan your routes on like journeys and stuff. You could be like, well, I'm heading to this planet for like a mission and combat and stuff like that, but like I really need like these sort of resources. I know I can find them at these planets because I pinned them, and it's just like really intensive resources I can find here, and then you plan that like on a long route to like a mission or something like that. Like, they still serve a purpose. Not every planet needs to provide you with some detailed ass storyline or a fucking alien that's lost its mum and you end up marrying it or whatever. Like, we don't need any of that. Like, as much as I do want that, by the way, that better be in the game somewhere. But yeah, it's just those planets just being dull, quote unquote, and resource intensive is needed for the game like flow to work better, I feel. So
that's right. Yeah, like I think like there is an element of like, it's been a long time since we've had a big RPG in this style. Like I said, the last one I can really think of, I don't really consider Elden Ring to be an RPG in this style. The last one I can really think of was Outer Wilds, and that was double A in scope. Worlds, Outer Worlds. That was double A in scope. So like, it's okay to have a big universe that you can kind of explore. If you ultimately you don't want to have your time wasted, but a less filled planet doesn't necessarily mean time wasted. Because obviously a big part of this game is exploration, and that comes with what it comes with. So yeah, that remains to be seen really, but I don't think in principle it's a particularly valid point until we have something we can actually cling to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, last point then. Last point for Starfield, last point for the show, and then we'll get out your hair. But one of the final things that Todd said around the game was that the tone of space travel, don't forget, there's space travel. That's not even in the B-roll right now. We're seeing lots of shooty. You can fly your own ship. You can build your own ship. You take your own cargo. You take your own crewmates. You can have sex in your ship.
You do
drugs in your ship.
All right, I'm not sure about these last couple points.
Yeah.
It's untrustworthy.
All of those
everyone.
things are confirmed. All of those things are confirmed. My dad works at Starfield.
At Starfield. Right. Well,
He
that
works
in
at Starfield.
itself just discredits him completely.
How did I start this? So the tone is that space travel should feel dangerous, right? And they've dialed this back and forth during development, and I thought that was quite interesting. You know, that going into space should feel dangerous because it's still like uncharted territory. You know, you're not going in there and killing everything you see. It's spooky. There are bandits. There are space police, maybe. You know, and I like that. I think that's a good tone to have.
Me too.
He also followed up by saying that there's lots of environmental differences on planets, you know, which means you need different spacesuits that give buffs and against gases and toxicity and temperature. So there, you know, we're getting more like we heard before that a big part of the ship travel was less about fuel and running out of fuel in the middle of space, but it's more that you upgrade your ship and now you can go further into space. And now you do your missions and then you upgrade, you go further into space. But there's also this other like element of it where, you know, you get these materials, you go to the different planets, you kill the fart bugs, you stretch it over your helmet, and now you
infiltrate.
You got poison resistance. You know, stuff like that. So lots of these RPG mechanics really coming together. I'm definitely started to, you know, the more he spoke about this, the more I was like, we really didn't see much of this game, did we?
No.
Like, you know, we saw like a decent, but like it didn't really give us much. It like they gave us a bit on like the progression systems and character creation. But in terms of all that sort of nuance, like it's still a big question mark. So, you know, it's really exciting stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's so much to this game that we have not seen, and that is very exciting to me. And you know that's what makes me think that we might see some of it, you know, in these upcoming events, you know, at Game Awards and stuff like that, and any events moving forward in like early 2023. I think we're going to start seeing this game pop up a lot more often because I think there's just so much to cover to get people excited for the launch of this game. So yeah, pretty buzzed.
Well, if we're lucky, yeah, we hopefully will. Well, we might. I'm not going to say hopefully, but you know, I think it's a bit of a long reach. But you know, if it happens, then we might hear about it more this week. Which we are currently in discussions about streaming, which may or may not happen. It's very late for us, so if we don't, sorry, but it's in discussions. You know, it's on the whiteboard. It's in the meeting room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's in our big like massive meeting room that we have. We discussed it with all our CEOs and everything like that. Yeah. Our employees.
You wouldn't understand it. It's very professional. Yeah.
Just waiting on a couple employees.
Oh.
Just waiting on a couple
brand sponsorship. Oakley's.
Yeah. Wait and see if we get the money from Oakley's. Maybe that'll fund the stream for the night. I don't know. I ain't doing that stream unless we get Oakley's money. I'd say that much.
It's on the whiteboard. We're meeting with the CEOs, having a bat from Oakley's. We're going to sit down, get a coffee.
Just going to hash it out, business style. You know, smart cash.
Yeah. 1,000 coffees per hour stream. We're going to give them out. We're going to give out Oakley's on the stream.
Yeah.
Come by. You might get a pair.
We're giving one away every second, so you probably will get a pair. Yeah. I've only just started the jingle because that really caught me off guard.
Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. That's great. You do great. Okay, wonderful, everyone. Thanks. You know, if you joined us live, that's great because this has been, you know, later than usual. But hopefully we'll be back to normal time next week. Yeah. And if we don't see you on Thursday for for the Game Awards. We'll see you on Sunday to talk about everything that happened. It'll be very exciting and it'll be crazy. And we'll be angry. I'll be angry. I'll be really angry about everything that didn't get awarded that should have been awarded.
Yeah.
And I'll be wearing my Oakleys while I do it.
And if we're not there on Sunday and Stray happen to get a lot of awards, it's probably we've taken our own lives. Yeah. So
yes. We've done a double suicide in the bathroom.
In the chat.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Trigger warning. Sorry. In the chat.
After.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.